All right, let's get right into food. So I hope that you have some notepads out, a notepad of any sort. I don't mind if that is a book, if that's your phone, an iPad, however you want to do it. But be ready to take notes because it is proven that when we hear something, we remember a small percentage of it. But when we hear something and we write it down, we're way likely to remember that in the long term. Versus like when someone tells us the name, we forget it in a few minutes or in a few seconds. But if we had to write their name down after they told us, we're most likely to not forget it. So I highly recommend to take a bunch of notes. And this is truly the foundation of the body. There's so much more that's going to come with it. But if you understand this part, the rest will be so easy to fall into place. So take this seriously. This none of this is well maybe and kind of or this might work. No, this is all proven and done and helped thousands and thousands of people around the world heal their chronic gut issues along with so many other problems out there. So getting right into it. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to cut out foods that are causing inflammation in the body and that are not benefiting the body. So a few of those things look like ultra refined carbohydrates, which are a lot of your cookies, cakes, a lot of the refined stuff, the stuff that doesn't come in its whole form. Um, any sweetened and flavored beverages, processed food, fast food, oils. Oils is a huge one. Things like soybean oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, peanut oil, grapeseed oil. Any of those oils are not good. They cause a lot of inflammation in the body, and inflammation is it's not the root cause of diseases, but it is the next step. So something causes inflammation in the body, like it could be the oil. Sunflower oil could be causing inflammation in your body, and then inflammation is leading to other illnesses in the body. We want to cut out fried foods, non-organic produces, if possible. Some is better than none. High fructose corn syrup, any artificial sweeteners and flavors. So I'm just going to put this into perspective. So for 21 days, we're going to be going on a 21-day elimination diet. For 21 days, you're going to be sticking to whole foods. That's fruits, vegetables, meats, herbs, and water. You don't need any other drinks. You don't need anything else that's made by man. Only food that comes from this earth in its whole form that you cook and eat from home. And this is only for 21 days, 3 weeks. And then after this, we're going to be slowly but surely implementing all other foods. So this isn't forever. This is just a time to let your gut heal and seal. Let it repair itself. Give it a break from all the stuff you've been forcing down into it and forcing it to digest that has not been helping it. The other thing this is to find out because 99% of the time with our illnesses, especially with gut problems, it is what we're putting into our gut. It's the food that we're eating because whatever we eat, our cells use to create themselves and become themselves. We are made by cells. And every 90 days, roughly all the cells in our body renew. So, whatever we've been eating for the last 90 days, that's mostly what our cells are made up by. That's what we are turning into. And that's why that saying of you are what you eat is a lot truer than we ever thought. Um, so for the 21 days, you're going to be giving your body a huge break. And you're also going to be seeing what are the triggers. Because every single person on this earth has foods that their body prefers and foods that their body doesn't like that much. And for the most part, most of us can have certain things and should stay away from certain things. But there are a few things out there in every person that our body does not like, and it's going to differ from me to you. But in the meantime, we're going to be cutting out dairy, we're going to be cutting out gluten, we're going to be cutting out wheat, we're going to be cutting out refined foods just for a period to see what the triggers, and then we're slowly going to be adding them back into your diet to see how they affect you, if they affect you at all, and also to give your body a break while we hyper-nourish it. So, but I'm going to be getting more into that. So, first, leaky gut. I don't believe there's a person on this world that will survive a lifetime without experiencing leaky gut. So basically, what that is, there's a mucus layer around our stomach that kind of protects, because our stomach is a muscle and it protects this muscle. And so if we eat all day, we never give our bodies a break. I want you to think of your stomach like a muscle, like your bicep. Now if you can see that in the camera. If I had to tear my bicep, not completely, but just tear it a bit, I would have to have my arm in a sling and not move it for at least 2 months, maybe 3 months. And because every time I bend my arm, where's the camera? Every time I bend my arm, I'm using my bicep. Even if I'm not picking up anything, I can feel my bicep move and contract as I'm picking up my arm, as I move it. Every way I move my hands, my bicep moves and it works. And so every time we put anything into our body, whether that's a food or a drink, our stomach, which is a muscle, it is contracting and it is working. And think if I had to do bicep curls every day for 8+ hours a day, even if there was nothing in my hand, I just did this all day, all day. I just curled my arm and I used that bicep all day, even if I wasn't picking up anything, even if I was using gravity to my advantage and there really isn't weight behind it, much weight, it's still being used. And my bicep will never heal until I give it rest and also extra nutrients, extra minerals and protein and that. But it's needing rest. It's needing rest along with, so it's needing the right environment and the right nutrients to heal itself. And the stricter I am to that, the less I move it, and the more minerals I eat, the more protein I have, the quicker that bicep is going to heal. And our gut is the same way. So you have to think our gut, our stomach is something that we put in random foods, random drinks for, from when we wake up to when we go to sleep, Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. For me, it's been 29 years, I think. Our stomach never gets a break. The only break it gets is late at night. And if we eat food late at night just before we go to bed, our body and our stomach is working on digesting that food and processing it through our whole sleep while there's no movement at all, which makes it really hard for the body to process and digest it. Our body has no time to repair itself because if my muscle is torn and I am moving my arm up and down, no matter what I do, if I don't stop the movement in my arm, this bicep is never going to heal. It's never going to get better, no matter what I'm taking. If I'm doing this all day, I'm working that muscle, it's not going to get better. So, rule number one is we have to let our guts rest. Rest to heal and seal. Think about it. When we're not eating, our guts, all they can do is start resealing themselves, rehealing themselves. They can start mending those muscles together. So, sorry, I was explaining the leaky gut syndrome. So, we have this mucus layer around the lining of our gut that protects these little, I'll call them fingers, so it's easy to understand. Protects these little fingers, and these little fingers is what once our body starts digesting it, those fingers, well, the nutrients drops into the mucus, and those fingers absorb the different nutrients and takes them to where they need it in the body. Um, but those fingers are really sensitive and delicate. And if they get touched by food, it starts almost making them raw, as though you're eating a lot of, like, let's say, salt and vinegar chips and your mouth gets raw, or a lot of pineapple and your mouth gets raw. It's like that. It needs that mucus layer to protect it. And the more we put in our mouths without giving time in between our meals, it's just eating away at the mucus layer, not allowing it to rebuild up in between meals. And without that mucus layer there, all that little tight muscles in our stomach, as you can see there, they start to separate and start to get bigger, allowing the food to not be digested properly and go straight through our stomach lining into our bloodstream, now circulating this food before it's digested without just the specific nutrients out of it. It's actually the whole food through our bloodstream, through our entire body, making us sick, making our whole body sick, which can lead to so many different issues. And where your body is the weakest in, that's where you're going to be attacked first. That's where you're going to see your biggest problems. So in order to get your stomach back to that tight knit junction, we have to give it time to number one, rest. So we need breaks between our meals, and we need breaks at night for our body, that it's not working on digesting any food, it's only working on rehealing and resealing the gut. Because if I just keep stuffing my mouth, just if I have a snack next to me, or even um, water, and I just keep drinking and sipping on water all day, we're never meant to live with a river and a bottle next to us. It's helpful these days, but back in the day, we would have had to walk for miles, find a river, scoop it up, drink some there, bring a bucket back, and like we had to ration water. It wasn't just in a tap. Um, so I guess moral of the story is we need to give our stomachs and our bodies time to rest between food so it can actually start healing itself. Think of it as a muscle, and every time you drink something or eat something, it is working. It has to work to do something with that food, to do something with that drink. It has to work. Your kidneys, your liver, everything has to work. And if it's working, it can't repair itself. So that's a huge thing. So why do we have so many issues? Well, first of all, there's over 70,000 man-made chemicals in the world today. Some of them might not be bad, but most of them we do know are harmful to the body. And they come in all things from air pollution. I mean, you see these factories, the amount of pollution they're pouring out of these factories, out of the cars' exhaust pipes, um, our polluted water. Our polluted water, especially from our taps, are so bad. You think the amount of people that flush down their medications into the sinks, into the toilets, and that water gets cycled and filtered and pumped back into our drinking water for us to drink. And it's got these particles of antibiotics, um, of hormone replacements, of birth control pills, all in our water, and you can't filter that out. You can filter out the big stuff, and you can filter out some stuff, but you can't filter out everything. And so people are flushing down the antibiotics, their medication, their household cleaners, everything that's not made for human consumption into our water system that's full of rusted pipes that a lot of them hasn't been changed in since they were ever put in, 100 years ago or so, or 70, 60 years ago. And all of this gets put through a bunch of water filters and sent back to us for us to drink, but it is not pure clean water. And that's why they have to pump so much chlorine and other chemicals into it to try and neutralize it and kill off a lot of the nonsense in it. But they can't get everything out. And that is really harming the body. And that's one reason why we can be chronically dehydrated, even if we're drinking a lot of water, is because one is the water has so much nonsense in it that our body doesn't see it as pure water. It sees it almost as a harmful ingredient and wants you to spit it straight back out. So we're not absorbing the water at cellular level. The second reason is is that the water has been filtered so much that it's been stripped of the original minerals in the water, and our body needs, the cells in our body needs those minerals to attach to the water, to absorb the water into our cells to actually be hydrated at cellular level. So with So by filtering our water too much, again, a lot of the water is just being flushed straight out because it can't be absorbed into all of our cells as it's needed. That's where adding a little bit of salt to your water comes in really handy. And I'll get into some different things like that because there's a lot of different things we can do. So this is a lot of might sound bad, but I'm going to get into all the things we can do about this. Um, so uh, again, so where was I? So antibiotics in our water, antibiotics in general. When we take antibiotics, yes, they will often do their job really well. They will go in and they will kill a virus, kill an infection, but with that comes some side effects. It will often kill all of the good bacteria within our gut. It can often lead to many other health problems down the line. Um, Fungicides and pesticides. There are so much fungicides and pesticides on our food, on our fruits, on our vegetables. This is why I say buy organic. Now, organic usually still has pesticides on it, but these pesticides you can wash off. Um, Basically, you get systemically grown and you get topically grown pesticides, vegetables, fruits, and that. So, systemically grown, they actually put the pesticides into the soil and gets absorbed into the root structure, into the plant, making the actual plant contain these pesticides. So, when the bug eats the plant, it dies. It's poisonous, but it's not enough to kill us. It's just enough to, cause things like leaky gut and little other health problems. But when it's organic, it is applied topically, the pesticide. So they spray it on versus putting it in the soil so it grows up into it. And this way we can wash it off. Other thing is excess sugar. We have so much excess sugar in our lifestyles, in our diets. Sugar isn't bad. We need sugar to survive. It's essential. But the amount we consume, having it in breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, drinks, everything is way overloaded on our system. Um, Parasites. I grew up in a country where we we do worm cleanses, parasite cleanses on a yearly basis. I come to America and they think only your dogs need it. Listen, if your dog licks your hand and then you go and just rub your eye, or your dog licks your cheek or something, most likely there are little worms and little parasites. There's nothing to be terrified about, but it can go into your mouth, into your nose, or if you have a little cut to my hand and the dog licks my hand, I most likely will get those parasites. And so, just like every 3 to 4 months we get our dogs, they do a little worm cleanse, we should too. It's nothing crazy. You can go buy it on Amazon, any little dewormer, and do a little parasite cleanse. Now, some people will have more than others, but we all have some form of parasites. We have good parasites and we have bad parasites, and we have to keep the bad ones at bay. It's just being being an animal, having a living body, we will have other organisms living inside us. That's just how nature goes. Um, so parasites can cause all sorts of problems depending where they are in the body and what type they are. Stress is a huge one. So there's a thing called fight or flight, and we originally got this back in the days where we'd be walking through the bush and would see a lion, and the lion would think we're food and start chasing us, and it would chase us for a good, I don't know, let's say 5 minutes until we found a tree to climb up. And that would put our body in a fight or flight. We would have to fight for our lives. Our body would be in an extreme stressful state for a short period of time while we're running for our lives, trying to get away from danger. And that was our stress. And then the other stress back then was like, oh, is this food safe to eat? I think so. Let me try it. And then they'll try it and they would know for next time if it's not. Or if who's in a relationship with who, but there wasn't the chronic stress that we have these days, and it's put our bodies into a chronic fight or flight mode where we wake up in an environment most of us don't like, we go to work we don't like, and it constantly stresses us out. So we're eating food we don't necessarily like, or we think like, oh, this is bad for us, we shouldn't do that, that stresses us. Then we get in an argument with our spouse or family member and that stresses us. Then we're sitting in traffic and that stresses us. Then we get a phone call that something happened to the dog, and now we have bills to pay for the vet, and that stresses us. I mean, this constant state of stress. And when we're stressed, our body takes the blood flow from our stomach that we use to digest food and sends it to more vital organs like our heart, like our lungs, to keep those things going, and to our brain during this fight or flight to get out of the stressful environment. Because back in the day, we wouldn't be in a stressful environment for long. Now we live in stressful environments, and there are so many things we can do to get out of that stressful state. Sitting, I am guaranteed, is one of the biggest pandemics in the world. We Sitting is killing us. Sitting is killing the world and making us so sick. So, first of all, when we sit and we're in this position, so these are my legs and this is my upper body. So right here is my hips. So when I sit in an L position like this, my hips turn inward and I actually pinch in my colon on both sides. They pinch in my colon, slowing down the movement, my bowel movements into my colon, allowing me to have easier bowel movements and causing a pinch in my colon, which doing this over time for too long can lead to a little more permanent damage down there in our colon. But I want you to really think about this sitting. So we sleep in a bed for, let's say, 6-7 hours a night, 8 hours a night, that we're just lying down, not moving. Then we get up, we probably sit up in the bed for an hour on our phones. Then we go to the toilet where we sit down. Then we go to the kitchen and we make breakfast. Then we sit at the table for a longer period to eat the food than we did to make it. And we get in the car and we sit on our drive to work, and we get to work and we sit all day. And even at lunch, when we go out to lunch, we probably walk to lunch and we sit down while we eat lunch. Then we get in the car and sit on the drive back from work. We get home, we make dinner, then we sit and we eat dinner, then we sit on the couch and watch TV, then back in bed and we sit and lie down for again until tomorrow and do it again. And we sit and sit and sit. And chairs were not created when we were created. Chairs are a newer invention, and they are really destroying us. There are so many books out there and so many studies out there on the importance of movement. And sitting in the still position, one, is causing so many back problems, so many hip problems, so many internal digestive problems. Because when we're sitting, everything's just stopped and it's crammed. It's locked in this position. And we have to open up our hips to open up our guts, open up our bowel movements, and allow blood circulation to go throughout the whole body. But we're really cutting things off by sitting. We're in a sitting pandemic. It's terrible. It's really terrible. I'm not going to get into I'll get more into the sitting in uh, the movement module. But sleep. Sleep is another huge thing that is making us sick. Not enough sleep. We need sleep is the time when our body goes to work to repair itself. So when we're sleeping, we're not doing anything else. We're done eating, we're done moving, we're done thinking. Now our body says, okay, I can go to work. If you've ever been on a ship, on a yacht of some sort, you know, during the day, the crew is seeing to all the guests on board. But at night, when everyone goes to sleep, the entire crew, they stay up throughout the night and they'll be scrubbing and cleaning and fixing anything broken while everyone else is asleep because they don't have to focus on them. And that is our body. So as soon as we go to sleep, our body says, now it's time to go to work. It's time to start repairing itself. It's time to start repairing any broken tissues, any broken membranes, any places that need extra nutrients. It's going to take from certain places and give to those places that need it more. And so if we're not sleeping enough, our bodies can't heal. Two, if we're eating just before we go to sleep, our bodies can't heal themselves because they're focusing on digesting the food. And then three, if we are stressed when we're going to sleep, our body is in a stressed state. That's why we're struggling to sleep too. So it's not going to focus on healing because it's going to worry that there's a lion down the road. It's thinking there's something bad happening, and it's in this tight stress moment. Next is abusing our body. We treat our bodies like trash cans. We do. We really, really do. And it's sad. It really is sad because we've been made to think it's okay. Um, we don't move enough and we don't eat the right foods. And we know that. It's not rocket science. And I'm going to get more into that. The next thing is past traumas. And with the abusing the body too is we constantly tell ourselves that we're stupid, that we're sick, that we're broke, that we're suck, that we're fat, that all these things. And again, I'm going to get more into that in the mindset module. But past traumas can carry a number on the body. They live within us. We have to work to open up and get those past traumas out to the surface in order for us to heal and move forward. And that's another thing we'll get into. And then again, like I mentioned, there's over 70,000 man-made chemicals on this earth that our body has to filter on a daily basis and get rid of. And yes, our bodies have incredible ways to naturally detox themselves, but we have to help them because we weren't created with over 70,000 man-made chemicals. Our bodies weren't designed to filter those many chemicals on a daily basis. So if we're going to be consuming all of those through the water we drink, the pesticides in the food we eat, not getting enough sleep, the stressful lifestyles, the polluted water, all the nonsense out there, if we're going to be able to filter that and get the goodness out of it and get rid of the waste, we have to get our bodies into optimal shape. And that's what we're going to be doing here. So, first things is food journal. So, you'll be receiving a food journal, and it will be similar to this, but not exactly like this. And in this food journal, I want you to write down the dates, the times of every meal that you eat, how you felt before that meal, how you felt after that meal, and what you ate, and at what times. Write down breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, water, how many bowel movements you had, what those bowel movements were like. And I would like you to do this for at least 4 weeks, if not the full program. Do it as long as you possibly can. And this is going to give you an understanding truly better than any food test out there. Later on, I will be getting into different, blood tests and saliva tests and urine tests and all that. But in the meantime, nothing can tell you as good and as accurate as if your body has a problem with something as you can. So again, you're going to be carrying a food journal and you're just going to be filling out, okay, what did I eat for breakfast? And I'm going to be giving you out what you should be eating for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So if you're not eating those and you are getting symptoms, it should be very clear on what's going on with the body and what you should cut out and what you shouldn't cut out. And just remember, everything you cut out is for a period. It's not forever. There are some things that, yeah, we really just shouldn't be having in our life. But honestly, whatever you want to eat, you can eat at the end of this program in time. And I'm going to show you how to reintroduce that into your lifestyle. And if it was affecting you, how to get your body to the state it needs to be, the strength it needs to be at in order to consume that food again. We just have to know how to, when to, and the what. So I want to show you food allergies versus food sensitivities. So a food allergy, it develops at infancy. About 4% of the population suffers with food allergies. So I don't wear glasses, but for screens, I do as blue light glasses because my eyes get a little hurt by the screens. I'm going to wear these. I think these are my wife's actually. So what is a food allergy? It's when the immune system sees a certain food as harmful and reacts by attacking the food and releasing histamine and other chemicals, triggering symptoms. This can be severe or life-threatening. So symptoms are hives, shortness of breath, itching, rash, swelling, tingling, nausea, vomiting, etc. When do these appear? Usually immediately to a couple hours after consuming. The most common ones are peanuts, soy, fish, shellfish, and dairy. So this is most common. You have this peanut allergy, the throat swelling up, or that. That's a food allergy. That's about 4% of the population. It's not very common. Food sensitivity, on the other hand, that develops at any age. 90% of the population suffers from food sensitivities. Now, I mean, I'm a walking billboard for this. I used to live on dairy. I lived on dairy. I used to have so much dairy. I laugh, but it's not funny. But when I was, let's see, about 22, 23 years old, I suddenly started having really bad gut problems every time I had dairy. I would get extremely bad diarrhea, really bad bloating, really bad cramping, and just tired, fatigue every time I had dairy. Really strange, but my whole life I was great with it, and then just suddenly, in my 20s, I got a really bad sensitivity to it. So, what is a food sensitivity? It's where an individual components of food cannot be properly processed and assimilated by the digestive system. So, parts of the food can't be properly digested by the body. Usually, this is less serious, but includes more symptoms. So, symptoms like chronic fatigue, weight gain, stubborn weight loss, acne, migraines, bloating, gas, mood swings, brain fog, etc. The list goes on, you name it, and it could come from a food sensitivity. And this is what's so amazing is no matter what you have, most likely it could be caused and will be caused from a food sensitivity or multiple food sensitivities, which your body just needs time to heal from, and then we can reintroduce it again. So, when do they appear? They usually delayed and up to 72 hours after eating. So, up to 3 days later. So, if I have, let's say, um, I don't know, I could go have a glass of milk now, and literally nothing happened until 3 days later. I could have some brain fog or get it bloated in the next 3 days, and that could have been caused from the milk I had 3 days ago. So that's what we're gonna help you figure out if that's happening and how to handle it. The gut brain axis. This is a huge one. So can I move this? I can't move my face. But the gut has its own nervous system and communicates directly with the brain. A healthy gut can improve your mood, cognitive function, and immune system. So I want you to know that your gut has an extreme amount of nerves. And without that mucus layer, those nerves are really, they are open and makes them extra sensitive to anything we put in there and any stress. And our gut is directly linked to our brain. So, whenever it can go both ways. But for instance, if we are in a bad mood, if something really frustrating happens, or we get hit with bills that we can't afford and it's really stressful, you will often experience gut problems. You'll often experience bloating, indigestion, diarrhea, constipation, whatever it could be. And that is directly linked because your brain is super stressed about something. It told your stomach, hey, I'm too stressed right now. I need the blood more to focus on thinking of how to fix this problem. You're not that important. Just hold on. And it also makes the stomach cramp and like squeeze and not sure what to do, puts it in a stressful state. The other thing, too, is if we have gotten rid of that mucus layer in our stomach and our stomach walls have started to open a bit, that food goes directly into our bloodstream to our brain, which can lead to mood disorders, can lead to depression, anxiety, irritability, so many other problems out there. It's a direct connection. If our gut's having a problem, our brain's going to be affected. If our brain's having a problem, our gut's going to be affected. And that's why in this program, we bring everything together to heal the whole body as one. Because you can't fix the mind and have a bad gut. You eat one wrong thing and could send you into depression. I know a lot of food makes me have mood swings. So I have to be careful of eating certain things because it goes straight to my brain and causes some mood disorders and vice versa. So your brain is connected to your gut is connected to your brain. I might repeat myself a lot, and that is so you can really understand this and get this and have time to take notes because I wish I took this more serious when I first learned about this. So, nothing provides a body with as much nourishment as plants do. They give you things like enzymes, living enzymes, vitamins, minerals, fiber, antioxidants, phytonutrients, dense, and they are living. They are living plants that we are eating, nothing dead that is rotten. I want you to think of animals have, well, shouldn't say animals, but let's say canines. Canines usually have what's it about a 6 foot colon. So when they eat meat, It's in their stomach and it's out. We have over 20 feet in our colon. So when we eat food, it takes a while to move through our long colon and get out the back door. Now, if you have a piece of meat and I eat it, it goes into this hot, warm environment and it sits in my stomach or in my colon for a few days. That meat is rotting and it's getting nasty. And it's going to start releasing fumes inside my colon, which is start going to be making me sick from the inside out. It's going to cause gas, it's going to cause bloating, and it's going to be slowly poisoning me until it can get out. Now, fruits and vegetables, they start fermenting, actually creating some good bacteria as they go a bit off and bad. And it's not harmful if they stay in you in a warm environment for a few days. Now, if you're having correct bowel movements, you should be going every day and getting your food out every day. But at least if you're not, you don't want it to be meat sitting in your colon until you have your things worked out down there. So we're going to be getting straight into your food plan. So this is what we're going to be doing for extended forever, but it's going to be just this for the next 21 days. And it's so simple. It makes life so simple and easy. So we're going to be having fruits and vegetables, fruits or vegetables with every single meal. We're going to be going along the 80-20 rule. 80% of every plate you eat needs to be plants. 20% can be other stuff, but I'm going to be going through it. So have fruits and vegetables with your 3 meals a day. I want you to eat 3 solid meals a day. You eat what you're happy with. If you can only eat 1 meal a day, only eat 1 meal a day. But I want you to know that you will get to the optimal weight, whether that's to lose weight or gain weight, by having 3 full decent meals a day. So 3 meals a day, you're going to be having 2 to 3 cups of vegetables at every meal, 6 to 9 cups for the whole day. This can be cooked, raw, blended, frozen. I don't care how you want to do it. The best thing is just to do it, just to get it in. So take notes on that. Vegetables to choose from. So there are so many more, but just to give a rough understanding. So vegetables: spinach, kale, chard, romaine, mustard, greens, arugula, parsnip, heirloom tomatoes, cucumbers, celery, bok choy, sprouts, yams. So many options out there. Taro, plantains, carrots, beets, bamboo shoots. There's endless options. Daily fruit serving. So 1 to 4 cups of fruit per day. Less to lose weight, more to gain weight. Fruits lowest to highest in sugar. So you always want to be more on the lowest end and least on the highest end. So on the low end, it's berries, cherries, anything that ends in Aries is the best, healthiest, most nutrient dense, lowest sugar option on earth that there is. So we're going to start with berries, cherries, and with those berries, it's raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, all the berries. Pears, kiwis, oranges, green apples, peaches, plums. Medium glycemic is apples, bananas, grapefruit, pineapples, figs, mango, papaya. And then on the high end, watermelons and dates. Now, honestly, watermelon shouldn't even be there because it's mostly water. Um, but it but it's up to you. You shouldn't sit there and eat an entire watermelon, but there's nothing wrong with having a few slices of watermelon. Um, Dates, another thing. Dates are great. It's a great alternative to a natural sugar, but I don't recommend having them in the beginning or as little as possible. So fats, healthy oils. Again, these are vital. So you're gonna want to add 1 to 3 tablespoons at every meal at your 2 to 3 meals a day. 1 to 3 tablespoons of healthy fats at every meal. Healthy fats are going to be, well, there's a picture there, but you want it to be cold pressed. You want it to come in dark bottles. Good fats are olive oil, avocado oil, raw nut oil, raw seeds oil, and then a great one to cook with is ghee. Um, I'm say stay away from dairy for the 21 days, but after the 21 days, you can definitely cook with ghee if you really want your butter. Um, Bad fats are oils such as canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. Those are ones we want to stay away from, ones that turn rancid really quickly, ones that aren't good under high heat. These are all things that cause inflammation in the body and will lead to other chronic illnesses. Oh, and as you can see in this picture, avocados, flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, other nuts, salmon, those are all amazing oils. So the 21-day elimination plan. So for 21 days, you're going to have water, plants, meat, and herbs. Anything natural that comes from this earth. You can see here's a great example of a bowl right there. It's got chickpeas, it's got tomatoes, it's got yam, it's got avo for fats. I think is that maybe couscous and some carrots. It's got a blend of everything, and I'll bet you that's delicious. So, elimination plan shopping list. You're going to be getting the shopping list to download and take out with you. It's going to be much easier, but I just wanted to show you what you'll be getting here. So, for this, there's no grains, no eggs, no dairy, no alcohol, no nuts, seeds, except hemp, corn, or soy. And this will be for 3 weeks. So as you can see, this is for the vegetables. You got artichoke, arugula, asparagus, bok choy, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, celery, chard, cucumber. The list goes on. Under fruit, blackberries, blueberries, cherries, green apple, kiwis, oranges, and the list goes on and on. Then for protein options, so we always want to have a complete meal. There's going to be vegetables or fruit. There's going to be protein, going to be oils and fats, and your gluten-free starches. So for protein, let me go back. So from here, you can choose anything from vegetables, anything from fruit. Then from here, and this is for every meal. And for here, you can choose a protein, whether it's animal-based, could be beef, buffalo, chicken, duck, eggs, I don't mind any of that, fish. If vegan, beans of any types, chickpeas, hemp hearts, lentils, tofu, must be organic, non-GMO, sprouted, quinoa, rice, split mung beans, sprouts. Root vegetables, going to be beets, carrots, parsnips, plantains, potatoes of any colors, squashes, taro, yams, yucca, and these are in place of rices, pastas, things like that. These are natural carbs. So oils and fats. We're going to be wanting to have avocado, coconut oil, olives, and if you're using oils such as coconut and olive oil, make sure it's 100% organic, extra virgin, first press and cold press, and to ensure it is in top quality without additives. So now we're getting to the fun part. So breakfast, the perfect breakfast. So I want you to eat as soon as you get hungry, whether that's as you wake up or an hour or two after you wake up. But let's say in the range of around 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. You're going to make a smoothie, and this is vital. Want you to have a smoothie that is 70 80% greens, kale, spinach, with a cup or two of blueberries. And if you want extra sweetness, you can add a banana or another fruit of your choice. And if you're wanting to put on weight or you want a little extra creaminess, you can put in 1 to 2 tablespoons of coconut cream. So what this is going to look like in your smoothie, optional is protein, but you want a minimum of 20 ounces of filtered water. You can add some coconut water in there for extra electrolytes. 1 to 2 tablespoons of healthy fat coconut cream, 2 to 4 cups of spinach, 1 to 2 cups of blueberries or mixed fruit, and you want to drink it over an hour or two. Don't drink it all at once. Sip on it over an hour, at least. And that's going to be your breakfast. So basically, your breakfast is spinach, blueberries, spinach being one of the highest in cruciferous vegetables, most highest nutrient dense foods out there, and then blueberries being the most highest antioxidant and carotenoid dense foods out there. And so, and adding in the coconut fat, this This creates the most perfect, intense, nutrient dense breakfast, nourishing, soft on the gut, easy to digest, everything your body needs to get going throughout the day and start healing itself and repairing itself at cellular level and get hydrated throughout the day. So, this is going to be your breakfast every day. It's going to be a smoothie, water, coconut water if you want, coconut cream if you want. Needs to have a lot of spinach or greens of your choice, a lot of greens of your choice, and 1 to 2 cups of blueberries, and you can add a cup of other fruit if you want extra sweetness, whether it be banana, apples, whatever that is. Then lunch, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, why do I have 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.? I want you to go 3 hours between every meal, 3 to 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours between every meal. So if you eat at 8, don't eat again before 11. No snacks needed in between. And the reason for this is to give your body 3 to 4 hours to completely digest all that food, rebuild the enzymes your gut needs and the acid it needs to digest the next meal. If you snack, your body's pumping out insulin, pumping out enzymes, and it's running low on everything and no time for it to heal and repair. So we're going to eat breakfast. We're going to wait 3 to 4 hours. Then we're going to have lunch. And lunch, let's say it's between 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That is going to be 2 to 3 cups of vegetables, raw or cooked. I love to have a salad or even like a soup. So that's 1 cup of, an example is 1 cup of sweet potato as your starch. I love yams because it's not sweet, it's just delicious. 1 cup of broccoli, 1 cup of carrots, or it could just be 2 cups of broccoli. And then you want half to 1 cup of protein. As you can see here is kind of a perfect example of this meal right here. And then 2 tablespoons of healthy fat. That could be olive oil, or avocado like you see. They just put a whole avocado here. That's perfect. Um, and then for seasoning, you want natural seasoning. So salt, pepper, rosemary, oregano, parsley, anything natural. You don't want to go buy a blended, like your favorite seasoning out there. The seasonings and the sauces are the most detrimental to our health. They have the most amount of crap in it. If you can cut out the seasonings and the sauces, get it down to just natural seasonings and sauces, your life will change with just that. So that's lunch. Super simple. It's 2 cups of vegetables, and that can look like 1 cup of sweet potato. Uh, 2 cups of vegetables, 1 cup of starch, and what that looks like is 1 cup broccoli, 1 cup of carrots, and then it's half to 1 cup of protein, 2 tablespoons of healthy fat, and then your natural spices. And then dinner is going to be the same as lunch basically. Dinner and lunch, it's the exact same concept. So again, another 3 to 4 hours after lunch. If we ate at 1, we don't want to eat again before 1, 2, 3, 4, before 4 p.m. Preferably 5. 4 hours is even better. And you're gonna feel a bit hungry over the first week, but after the first week, your body will have adjusted to no snacks in between the meals. And the next week and the next week is just gonna you're gonna really start to feel amazing and have so much energy between your meals, and not have all the hunger cravings and pains. So dinner between 5 and 7, getting 2 to 3 cups of vegetables, raw or cooked, um, half to 1 cup of starch, which let's say sweet potato, half to 1 cup of protein, and half a tablespoon of healthy fat, olive oil, avocado, and then healthy spices like oregano, parsley, thyme, etc. As you can see here, you want majority of the plate, 70 to 80% of the plate, plants, vegetables, and then the other 20 to 30% can be of your choice. Be better if it's protein and fats like this, but it's all your choice. And again, if you are a vegetarian, replace that meat with nuts of a sort, with a protein of your choice. But we want to have a combination of our vegetables, of our starches, of our protein, and our oils. Our body needs that healthy balance to completely balance out the whole body. Digestion. So we want to eat with intention. We want to chew more and we want to give our bodies a break. So, first of all, going back here to after dinner. So as soon as we're done eating, we need to go up and brush our teeth right away. As soon as we're done after dinner, let's go up and brush our teeth. Whether that's 5 p.m. or 7 p.m. We're gonna go brush our teeth, okay? And what this is gonna do, it's gonna make it not enjoyable for us to eat something else. We're gonna be like, oh, I brushed my teeth. I don't wanna. It's gonna prevent us from having those late night snacks. It's gonna prevent us from having those snacks or drinks that we probably shouldn't have. So we're gonna go brush our teeth right after dinner. And then eating with intention. So I want you to think every time you eat something, am I doing this out of love? Because everything we put into our body is used as fuel, is used as nutrients, nutrition, that our body squeezes out every last drop so we can move, so we can think, so we can see, so we can hear, so we can speak, so we can live pain free, so our joints can move easily. So every time we eat, we have to know that this food is either going to help us get into better health or slow down our healing process. And so when you put food into your body, think, is this loving me? Am I loving myself by doing this? And we do need to have times where we enjoy something that maybe isn't the best for us, but we're with a group of people that we're celebrating someone's birthday and we want a slice of cake. There are times like that there's no problem with having that slice of cake, but we have to get our bodies into a stronger state to be able to handle that cake because we've overdone it for so long. So eating with intention. When we eat food, is this helping me or is this not helping me? I'm not going to say that Coca-Cola is bad for you. Yes, in my books it is bad for you, but I'm not going to say that that is bad for you. I'm going to say that that is not helping you get any better. And if you continue down the path that you are on right now, think where your health is going to be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Think of how bad things can get if you don't get better. The next is chew more. So digestion begins in the mouth, the saliva. So the saliva is part of the digestion process. So I want you to think, well, I want you to try and remember before you eat something, lift it up and take a deep breath. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and you're going to feel your mouth fill up with saliva. Why? Because our bodies were designed when we smell something that is edible, that we're about to consume, our body gets ready for digestion. It starts filling up our mouth with saliva to start breaking down the food and pre-digesting it before it gets down into our stomach to help our stomach. And the more we chew, the more saliva is released, the more we break down the food, the more we break down the fibers, the protein, and help the nutrients be at a more bioavailable level so it can be absorbed into our body a lot easier. Versus if we have two chews and we swallow, we're leaving most of the work up to our gut, and our gut isn't designed to take on the full load. It's designed to share the load with our stomach and really enjoy the food and chew on it. So I want you to chew your food for the next 21 days until it is a pulp, until it is mush, no matter what it is. Chew it until it's basically a mushy liquid, and then swallow. And you're going to just watch how the bloating disappears, how the indigestion disappears, because you're now giving your body time to start preparing to digest the food. And especially if you smell it beforehand, let the mouth fill up with saliva, it's going to give the food the enzymes it needs to break it down and start absorbing it and digesting it the way it was meant to be done. We're not meant to force down a meal. Rather eat a smaller portion and have the time to enjoy it than like stuff it down. Next thing, give your gut a break, and that goes back into 3 to 4 hours before meals. And there's going to be no food after dinner. Okay, no food after dinner. That is a huge thing, to give the body a break so it can heal at night. So let's say you do stop eating at 7 p.m. Now 5 is the best option, but if you stop eating at 7 p.m., that's great too. 7, let's say it takes 3 hours for you to digest most of that meal. 3 to 4 hours. 7, 8, 9, 10. Now 10 o'clock, you've digested 90% of that meal, and most likely you're getting ready for bed. Now when you get in bed, over the next hour, your body will have completely digested it, and it will have the rest of the night to purely focus on rebuilding that gut and giving nutrients from that last meal to everywhere it needs to be in the body, that the body can go to work like a crazy mining town at night, because the body heals at night. Um, so that's the goal right there. You want to have your last meal at least 3 to 4 hours before you go to sleep at night. And this is also going to allow you to sleep better, because if we have food closer to night, our body is wide awake. It's working. It's like it's digging a hole. It's going to town. And now we go lie down. We want to sleep, and we're like, why can't I sleep? Like, I'm tired, but I'm not tired. Your stomach's going flat out. It is working. It is working full out. Like it just got to work because you just shoved food down your throat. So next, extra sensitive stomach. This is my favorite because this is where I was, and this is where everyone should start. So if you have an extra sensitive gut, you have a lot of gut problems and you've been suffering for years and you've tried everything under the sun and nothing's worked. That is why we are here. So you want to go back to baby foods, back to the basics. I lived for months on soups and stews and smoothies and juices, nothing solid. And so this is what, if you have a really, really bad gut, I want you to focus on the fork test. So first of all your foods, you want to digest slash blend all the foods for your body before you consume it. Because the less something is broken down, the more work your gut has to do to break it down, the more acid it needs, the more enzymes, the more everything it needs to break down that food and get out the nutrients it needs and to get it into colon to poop out the rest. So again, what are we going to do for this? We're not going to do any snacks in between our meals. So 3 to 4 hours between our meals, no snacks. Next thing is you want to eat from roughly the hours of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. There's no crazy intermittent fasting, but basically from sunrise to sunset. And if your sun rises or sets at crazy times, then go back to my hours of when you wake up to then have a dinner at a reasonable time, about 3 to 4 hours before you're going to go to sleep, and have your meal then. Then hydrating with lemon and salt in the morning before breakfast. That is going to be a huge thing for your gut. So having a nice tall glass of water in the morning, first thing, if you can add a pinch of salt, literally get some pink Himalayan salt or Celtic sea salt. You just take a pinch with your fingers, drop it into your water, stir it around, and drink that down. Not a lot. You don't want to be able to taste the salt. Just a tiny bit, just a pinch of salt. And that salt is going to give the water the minerals to absorb into your cells at cellular level so you can actually hydrate at a cellular level and finally hydrate your body and give your body a little more extra minerals and electrolytes, and you're going to feel a huge difference in your energy and everything throughout the day. So better than lemon, add a bit of salt to your water in the morning. And then you're going to have your smoothie, which is passes the fork test, and you're going to have your lunch, your dinner. And so again, if it's what a fork test is. A fork test is, if you take your fork, it needs to be able to smush through anything that you smush it through. If you cook a piece of steak and you push that fork onto it, it's not going to push through it. I'm sorry. It's not going to work on a piece of steak or a piece of chicken. If you take, let's say you take some yam, some potato, and you cook up that potato, you boil it, you bake it, however you want to do it. Then you take that fork and you push through it. It's just going to go right through it like butter. That is what you want. The softer, the gentler it is on the gut, the easier it is on the gut, the more the gut can work on just healing, sealing, and repairing itself, and it doesn't have to work so hard. So we want to do most of the work for our gut in advance. So I advise you to have a lot of smoothies, have a lot of soups, have a lot of stews. What I would often do is I would cook a soup or a stew like in a big Instapot, and that would be like my food for 2 weeks or three, or my dinner or lunch for 2 or 3 weeks. And it would just be soft. I'd cook it overnight, so everything would just like go down to a mush basically. Then, so your daily plan. So breakfast between 8 and 10 a.m. Well, as soon as you wake up and you're hungry, whenever you're hungry, have some food. You're going to make your delicious smoothie. My face is blocking out some of it. Then lunch between 11 a.m. 1 p.m. You're going to have a nice dense lunch full of greens. your fats, your protein, your starches, everything you need. And then dinner is from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Gonna have roughly 2 cups of vegetables, 3 cups of vegetables. The more the better. 1 cup of starch, 1 cup of protein. And like as you can see, here's a picture of a soup. It could be a stew. It could even be a full-on like meal that isn't cooked down into a soup. However you want it to be, but just follow these basic examples. And um, and so with that being said, I want you to know that this is very simple. This is very straightforward. It's going back to the basics. We want in majority 80% of everything that you eat throughout the day to be plant-based. Then the rest, other 20%, have what you want. Have what you want. But for 21 days, we're going to be strict. No games. No games for 21 days. No snacking. Okay? After the 21 days, we're going to have 1 to 2 flex meals a week. And I'm going to get into that. I'm going to show you like what you can do after the 21 days. Plan your meals one day ahead. So each day, plan what you're going to have tomorrow for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Make sure you have those ingredients. Then 3 to 4 hours between each meal, which is going to allow you to fast for 12 to 14 hours every day throughout the night while you're sleeping. No food after about 6 p.m. if you can. Don't drink within 30 minutes of eating. So we don't want to drink about 30 minutes before we eat and 30 minutes after we eat. And this is to allow our body to have enough stomach acid enzymes to break down the food. If we drink, it dilutes it, making it harder for us to digest that food in a short amount of time. It takes way longer and we often don't digest as much as we should. So again, after the 21 days, this is vital. This is where you really need to take notes. Week 4, you can do what you want. You can choose what foods you want. But let's say it's eggs. You're gonna have an egg. And have an egg. You're gonna wait 3 days. Record all your symptoms. Have an egg and don't eat that egg. Don't eat eggs again for 3 days. Go along with your regular diet. Record all your symptoms. If nothing changes, have an egg again. And you know you're safe to bring in eggs. Then wait 3 days. Eat pasta. If you start experiencing any bloating, any indigestion, any nausea, if you suddenly start getting a little more tired, if you start getting a little more grumpy, any of those symptoms, again, wait 3 days and have that pasta again. If those symptoms reoccur, you know that you're sensitive to that pasta. And you're going to continue to do this with new things after new things with dairy. You're going to wait 3 days, write down all your symptoms, track everything, and try again. And once you've gone through everything that you usually eat, this only would take an extra 3 weeks or so. Once you've gone through everything that you usually have, and you have everything on your list that has been affecting you, and you have, hey, this causes me headaches, hey, this makes me break out in acne, hey, this makes me get bloated. Now we can start working with those things, cut them out for 3 months. And after 3 months, introduce them slowly again. So again, and you can do this with restaurants, but at restaurants, you don't want to go in and order a huge meal that has, the fries with the burger and the meat and the everything and the milkshake in that, because now you're not going to know what it was. You want to go eat just a burger and see how that burger does. Then you want to go have just a milkshake on its own, see how that milkshake does. Really try things one thing at a time so you can truly rule it out. If you experience any negative symptoms, try food again to confirm that it is that food, then cut out that food for at least 3 months and reintroduce it in 1 tablespoon a day, wait 3 days, have it again, and slowly reintroduce it into our body, into our stomach. If no negative symptoms, keep that food in. And remember to continue, you want to keep on this food plan for as long as you can, forever if possible, but add in the 1 to 2 flex meals a week. Add in going out to eat once a week, or if there's a birthday party on Saturday and you want to go feast at a restaurant, go feast at a restaurant. It's really up to you. But I want you to understand that your stomach, think of your stomach as a garden. And the more foods, the more whole plant foods you plant in it, the more it can digest. If you have any problems with any vegetables, especially cruciferous vegetables, that cause any bloating, any indigestion, discomfort in the gut. It is most likely because you haven't had it for so long that you don't have the enzymes from that food to digest that food and break it down. So every time you eat something, some of that food is left in our gut, and memory of that food is left in our gut and remembers what that food was, what the molecular structure was, what the plant fibers was, what the protein was, everything. And some of that food is left behind. So when we eat more of that, it can help break, we have enzymes of that food previously to help break down that food again. But if we haven't been eating cabbage on a regular basis and we suddenly start eating cabbage, our body's like, what is this? I have no enzymes for it because I haven't had it in so long. I don't have what it takes to break it down. So you just have to slowly introduce the foods over time. And so the more fruits and vegetables and variety of plants in general that we can eat, the stronger, the more iron gut that we're going to build that can handle anything, anywhere, anytime, because our body is used to that. But we have to work on eating a wide variety of foods, plants, herbs, seeds, all of that on a regular basis to get our gut used to it, get all the enzymes in there so it can continue to break those down and not have problems with them in the future. Problem is, we get so stuck on the same breakfast forever, the same lunch forever, the same dinner forever, the same snacks. And our body, now suddenly we eat something strange, new. Our body has no clue what it is, and it doesn't know what to do with it. It doesn't know if it's a toxin, it doesn't know if it's bad, it doesn't know what it should do with it, and it doesn't have the correct enzymes to break it down. So that is so vital to have a wide variety gut. And so that is the end of this lesson. And below, I'm going to have forms for you to fill out, shopping lists, and a few books for you to read. And I just hope that you get excited and stoked for our next lesson. And please, any questions you have, they will be in our private community. You can ask them, but there'll also be other videos that I'll be uploading to answer all your questions so you don't have to wait for my replies and that. But I'm here to help you, to guide you, and you are never alone. I want you to know that and understand that.